The cop's hand was already resting on his holster when Karen Whitaker shrieked that my mother was trespassing on the community pond. The same pond my grandfather helped dig out of the California dirt 50 years ago with nothing but a backhoe and sheer stubbornness. What kind of monster calls armed police on a 76-year-old woman with dementia who's just sitting on a bench feeding ducks and humming old songs? My name's Alex Rivera. 6 months ago I was a burned-out software engineer in the Bay Area getting laid off by AI. Now I was back in Cedar Grove Estates, the cookie-cutter suburb I swore I'd never return to, taking care of Mom after her diagnosis turned our family upside down. The American dream. Right? Except the dream came with an HOA president who thought a laminated copy of the bylaws made her God. The neighborhood looked peaceful from the outside, manicured lawns. Kids on bikes. That soft golden California light that makes everything feel like a real estate ad. But step inside and you could feel the tension humming under the surface like a live wire. Every blade of grass had to be exactly 3 inches. Flags could only fly on approved holidays. In the pond, our little man-made oasis with the willow trees and the ducks was suddenly premium amenity that required new access protocols. Karen Whitaker had moved in 2 years earlier from some sterile Chicago suburb. Cash buyer on the biggest house on the cul-de-sac. Within months she'd clawed her way to HOA president with the same energy other people reserve for pyramid schemes. Her platform? Restoring standards and protecting our investments. Translation: make life miserable for anyone who didn't look or act like her. I'd already been on her radar. A few weeks after I moved back, I politely questioned a $400 landscape enhancement fee at a board meeting. The next day, neighbors started getting whispered stories that I was unstable, that I was neglecting Mom. That maybe Child Protective Services, well, Adult Protective Services, should take a look. Classic Karen move. Smear first. Ask questions never. I stayed quiet. Smiled. Nodded. But I watched. And I remembered. The morning it all exploded was one of Mom's better days. She'd woken up knowing who I was. Even cracked a joke about my terrible cooking. I took her down to the pond like we used to when I was little. Same bench under the big willow. She tossed breadcrumbs to the ducks. Humming Que Sera Sera the way she always did when she was happy. Then came the click-clack of expensive heels on the path. Excuse me. This is a members-only amenity now. Karen materialized in full athleisure armor, Lululemon that cost more than my last paycheck. Silver hair sprayed into submission. Clutching her precious bylaws like a holy text. New annual access fee is $750 per person. Payable immediately or I'll have to involve security. I kept my voice even. Mrs. Whitaker. My family has had access to this pond since before you ever heard of Cedar Grove. My grandfather helped build it in '78. It's written into the original covenants. Her laugh was pure ice. Those old papers are cute. Mr. Rivera. But the board voted. Rules are rules. And your mother appears to be confused. We can't have liability issues. Mom looked up. Blinking. Alex. Who's this nice lady? Is she here for the party? That's when Karen pulled out her phone and called the community's private security. Who? Because this is America in 2025. Called the actual police for unauthorized loitering and potential trespass. The officer who showed up looked embarrassed. But Karen was in full performance mode, voice trembling with fake concern for the safety of our vulnerable residents. I didn't yell. I didn't fight. I just stood there while Mom started crying because she thought she was in trouble for something she did in 1962. The neighbors watched from their windows. Some shook their heads. Others filmed on their phones. Karen's face? Pure Botox triumph. That night I sat in Dad's old office going through boxes he'd left behind. Underneath tax returns and yellowed photos. I found it, the original 1978 development agreement. My grandfather, Miguel Rivera, hadn't just been a laborer. He and a handful of other working men had taken equity shares in the development company in lieu of higher pay. The pond and surrounding green space were never fully transferred to the HOA, they remained assets of the old Cedar Grove Development LLC, which had gone dormant but never dissolved. And those shares came with perpetual access rights that could not be revoked or monetized without unanimous consent of founding shareholders. I smiled for the first time in weeks. The fines started arriving the next day. $250 for unauthorized use. Another $100 daily until compliance. Then the gate went up, 8 feet of black wrought iron with a keypad and cameras, blocking the only easy path to the pond. For safety, Karen said at the emergency board meeting, voice dripping with concern. Never mind that it also blocked fire trucks and ambulances. I sat in the back row, quiet, taking notes. Karen kept glancing at me, that smug little smile playing on her lips. She thought she'd broken me. She thought the rumors she'd spread had isolated me. She had no idea I'd spent the last week on the phone with every founding family still left in Cedar Grove. Turns out Karen had pulled the same playbook in Illinois: install gates, jack up fees, drive out the old families, then quietly buy their houses through a shell company called CG Holdings. Same initials. Same scam. She was turning neighborhoods into her personal flip portfolio, all while preaching about community values. The more I dug, the uglier it got. Embezzled maintenance money, fake invoices, a pattern across 3 states. And the best part? Because the original LLC still technically existed and we founding families held 42% of the shares between us, we could force a shareholder meeting and challenge everything. I didn't rush. I let her keep digging her own grave. The fall festival was supposed to be Karen's victory lap. She'd spend HOA money on string lights, a wine bar, and a big banner that read Cedar Grove, where standards matter. She strutted around in a white linen pantsuit like she was hosting the Met Gala, accepting compliments on the new gate and the beautiful upgrades. That's when the process server walked straight through the crowd, cameras rolling, and handed her the papers. Mrs. Whitaker, you've been served. Her face went through the stages of grief in about 4 seconds: confusion, recognition, pure volcanic rage. This is harassment. These people are trying to destroy our property values. I stepped up to the mic the local news crew had conveniently set up. Actually, Karen, we're exercising our legal rights as shareholders in Cedar Grove Development LLC, the company that still owns the pond. The company you tried to steal through fraudulent transfer. The company whose money you've been skimming for years. The crowd went dead silent. Then the murmurs started. I kept going, calm and clear. We also have evidence of the same scheme in Illinois. Same shell company. Same pattern of driving out long-time residents so you could buy low and sell high. The FBI's been building a case. Today was just the day they decided to move. Agent Ramirez from the FBI Financial Crimes Unit walked up right on cue. Badge out. Karen Whitaker, you're under arrest for wire fraud, racketeering, and conspiracy to commit money laundering across state lines. That was the moment her mask fully shattered. The Botox couldn't hide the panic. Her voice cracked into a screech that sounded nothing like the polished president from 5 minutes earlier. You can't do this. I built this community. These people are nobodies. My lawyers will destroy you. The crowd wasn't having it. Old Mrs. Delgado, whose family had been fined into near bankruptcy, stepped forward. You fined me $1,800 for having Christmas lights up 3 extra days. You told my grandson he couldn't play soccer on the grass because it damaged the aesthetic. And now you're surprised we fought back? Karen tried to run. Literally turned and started powerwalking toward her Mercedes in those stupid heels. 2 agents gently but firmly stopped her. The handcuffs clicked on right under the festival lights while phones captured every second. Her nephew, the disbarred one who'd been sending the threatening letters, tried to intervene and ended up face down in the grass after tripping over someone's strategically placed lawn chair. 6 months later, the gate is gone. The pond is open again. The way my grandfather always intended. The court ordered full restitution. Karen's mansion, seized as proceeds of crime, is now the Miguel Rivera Community Center. Complete with free legal aid for anyone fighting their own HOA bullies and a computer lab where kids learn how to read actual property deeds instead of TikTok. Karen herself is looking at serious federal time. Last I heard, she was writing letters from county jail demanding we pay for her emotional distress. We framed the first one and hung it in the center's lobby. Mom still has bad days. But on the good ones we sit on that same bench. She tosses breadcrumbs to the ducks and sometimes remembers the whole story. Your abuelo built this, she'll say, patting my hand. Nobody can take what we built together. And she's right. So here's the question I want you to answer honestly in the comments: when an HOA president uses rules, rumors, and police to control her neighbors while lining her own pockets, is she protecting property values, or is she just a thief with better stationery? Who is really breaking the law here? Drop your thoughts. I read every single one. What do you think? Did the neighbors go too far? Or was this exactly the karma an abusive HOA Karen deserved? Let me know below.